I had a very, very, very disturbing and horrible dream, and a fair warning to anyone who doesn't want to hear it. Just go away right now because it's dark. And there's two parts to this dream. Like many of my dreams, they seem to split into completely different scenarios and situations. And seemingly unrelated, supposedly. This was the case here, and I was in some kind of hotel, and it looked like really posh, like high-end hotel, and I was with a friend that I actually was friends with in real life for many years. And this was the individual that was next door neighbors with the singer of Typo Negative, Peter Steele, who subsequently attended his funeral and everything. We were drinking together alcohol, which we did do in real life together often back in the day. Um, and then my wife was there, and she was trying to figure out what we were doing, and I kept hiding the bottle of alcohol, which is something that I also shamefully used to do years back when I drank excessively. Um, and we were just sort of conversing and doing whatever that we were doing in this hotel, and excessively and everything. And the scene just completely changes to something that couldn't possibly be more different. And it was a giant, massive structure. And I saw not only the structure, I saw what was outside of it. And where it was located looked like a barren gray dust. And it looked like the moon because everything was in this gray dust. The surrounding regions looked very much like what you would see in the fake and doctored images of the Apollo moon landings. And inside the structure, there was these massive machines, and they were robotic, and it was like a factory. And at first, I'm seeing these machines just moving around, um, just doing these robotic actions that looked very automated. I didn't see any people. I didn't see any aliens until later. But I saw what looked to be people later on who were taken into this conveyor belt and very much alive and conscious. And these machines were just like you would imagine animal factory farm where they drain cows from their blood, and skin them and put them through the processors. It was a very similar process, except I noticed that the initial process was that at first they conducted what appeared to be like a vivisection, like cut in the abdomen, where they would extract the intestines, and they would proceed to put it into another machine section that would take off the skin, and then another section where it would actually like there were saws that would slice the meat into chunks and into pieces. And I saw this in such grotesque and visceral detail, like as detailed as you can imagine. And there was men and women, and I don't know about children, but they were there, and they were just being shoved through these machines. And uh the scene changes to a cafeteria like setting, and I see something not human, but can't tell what it is. I'm unable to see their faces or make out what their appearance is like. I can only tell that they weren't human and they were consuming this human flesh. And basically, the word reptilian comes to mind because I've been meditating about them a lot the past few days. You know, I mean, this would be really strange though, because I've always had this idea that these were dimensional, or they were outside of our perception of reality, that they were like more, ethereal beings than something physical. But I mean, if this did imply reptilians, then this obviously is something very physical. It could be both too. There could be different variations and gradients of their species that are both physical and interdimensional. And I've been meditating specifically on the scene in iPad Go 2 where the character Ludovic, the egghead boy, and he has the serpent coming out of his skull, so the shell is cracked. And the serpent is attached to a television, and he's surrounded by VCs, the vax and pills all around him, and he's in a condition that's sick, obviously. And I've been really trying to figure out what that scene means. Is the serpent, the medical serpent, the medical tyranny? Is because there's obviously a reptilian being in that TV. You can't mistake it for anything else. And is he coming out of the shell? Was he using like him as food, or like was this dream an allegory as them using us as food, which is what is implied in the Ludovic scene, where the reptilian, is basically feeding off the mental torment of this figure. And he reaches a point where he breaks out of him and he exposes himself, basically, and subsequently ends up running away. And what that means, I don't know. Does that mean that they are released from their, attachment to us, and now they could run amok and run free? Does it mean that they no longer have to attach to us because they've gotten everything they possibly could, and they're leaving? There's all kinds of possibilities here to ponder, but I think this dream is related to that, since this is what I've been thinking about for a few days. So, yeah.